my weight issues, my biggest fan, the problems with home ownership, and a lot more on this week's episode of The Mitch Burrow Show. All right, let's get into it. I'm fat. I got to lose some weight. And this earlier this week was a real slap in the face. I went to the doctor for something, and I've gained like 10 pounds. I was on some medication. I'm still on some medication, and apparently it can cause you to overeat, which, I mean, if you've been watching the show, that's already been a problem. Like, if you've ever seen me before, you know that's an issue that I have. So then they give me this drug that makes me feel better, but then it makes me get fatter. And that doesn't make me feel better. So what are we doing here? But I get to the doctor's office, and she asked me to step on the scale. The nurse is there, and she records my weight. And then we're talking about it, and I'm like, I gained about 10 pounds or so, huh? And she's like, yeah, but she goes, you are wearing jeans and shoes. You know, your clothes are going to add about 4 pounds. And I was just like, do you think that the last time I was here, I stepped on that scale naked? Like, that's not making me feel any better. You know, like I wasn't in here the last time, and I was like, hold on, nurse, before I step on this scale, let me make sure that I weigh as little as possible. And then this time around, I was like, yeah, I'm feeling better. Let's just get up there with all my clothes on. I put on some steel-toed boots. I'm wearing a big, heavy jacket. Let's just see where we're at today. Nope, had the same clothes on. I wear the same clothes to the doctor's office every week. That way I know it's consistent. Wait, every week? I don't go to the doctor every week. What is wrong with me? I would have cancer if I went to the doctor every week. Every time I go to the doctor, which is, you know, once a year for a regular checkup, and then every now and then when I have the sniffles. My wife likes to make fun of me for being one of these guys that gets a little headache and then the world is over. But, you know, I'm a white man and I'm not used to struggling in this world. So the minute something bad happens, I feel like it's all over. I'm never going to recover. But I want to lose weight for one reason. I've always had a reason to want to do it. There's always been a motivation. When I was in high school, I wanted to lose weight so I could join the military. I did it, was in the Marine Corps for 5 years, was constantly trying to make sure I was losing weight so that I met height and weight standards. Then I got out and I started gaining weight, and I wanted to lose weight because I wasn't as attractive. I wasn't as popular with women as I had once been. Then I started doing stand-up comedy, and I got a little bit popular with ladies again. But I wasn't getting any roles. I'd go out to audition acting for something, and I wouldn't get a role in that. And that's when I started thinking, okay, maybe I need to lose weight for that. But it was never enough. Now I finally got a real reason to lose weight. And it's my daughter was born 2 years ago. And I know you're already thinking, oh, he wants to live longer for his daughter. That's not it. I want to be able to ride roller coasters with her. I want to take her to the fair, and I want to ride the Tilt-A-Whirl. I want to ride the Zipper. I want to go to Six Flags, and I want to ride the Batman ride. I've never had a problem with it, but except for one time. The last time, it was probably 6 years ago, I went to Six Flags, and I was able to ride every ride except for the Batman ride. The shoulder harnesses came down, but they wouldn't latch. They got to about right here, and it was done. And I was with a woman that I was dating at the time. It was a little embarrassing, but she knew she was with a fat guy. Like, not a big deal. Didn't really care that much. She still had sex with me later that night. But with going to a thing with your child, they want to have that fun with you. They want you on the ride. Everything my daughter does, she's pointing to my wife or I, and she's like, come do this with me. We take her to the park, and she's climbing up on everything, and she wants us to join her. And that stuff, it's easy for me to say, no, I'm too big, because adults just aren't supposed to get on a lot of that stuff. But if I take her to Six Flags or Disney World or something like that, and we're going to be riding rides, I have no excuse other than Daddy is too fat to ride this ride with you. And disappointing her, letting her down, is going to be a lot worse than just some woman that I'm trying to impress or to date or whatever, so I just started thinking about that. Like, what if I take my daughter to the county fair and I can't get on a ride with her or something? I took her to a little Christmas thing last year, and they had these little rides that you could get on with them. And I just remember thinking, I'm going to sit down on this thing, and it already goes slow. And then as soon as I get on it, it's just going to be like, like hardly able to push itself around. So I got on it, and it was fine, but I was definitely like squeezed up in there, like barely able to breathe. And she just like, daddy fun. And I'm like, not for me. So yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to get in better shape so that I can have more fun with my daughter. Of course, I want to live a long time, but honestly, every time I go to the doctor for my annual checkups, all the blood work comes back and they're like, yeah, you're good. And I can always see it on the doctor's face. Like, they think maybe they got my blood work mixed up with somebody else, because they're just like, yeah, your cholesterol's good. Your blood pressure's fine. Yeah, everything seems to be okay. So just come back next year and we'll check again. Diabetes, I'm not like pre-diabetic or anything. I'm the healthiest fat person that there is. So, look, all of the things that have happened throughout my life, chicks continued to hook up with me. Doctors continued to tell me I was healthy. There just was never anything that I was like, I want this, but I can't have it because of how fat I am. Now there's something that I genuinely won't be able to do, and I got to fix it. So I'm hoping that this is a time when I can actually follow through with it. Everyone does it. It doesn't matter how overweight you are. Everyone gets to a point in their life where they're like, I need to do something about this. And, I've done it a bunch where I've lost 15, 20 pounds and then gone back and gained 30 or whatever. So it's just really hard. And I had this idea not too long ago about how to improve myself. And it was that I would write a self-improvement book, and I would write it as I improved myself. And you, the reader, would follow along with me on this journey and improve yourself as I was. And so the first chapter was about procrastination. And I wrote the first paragraph of it, and it basically says, one of the hardest parts of self-improvement is to take the action. We tend to procrastinate and find reasons not to start the journey. And that's what you're going to do right now. And that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to set this down to the side, and I will come back in a few months and continue this journey with you when you come back as well. And that was about 2 years ago. And I haven't gone back to writing this self-help book. But maybe I'll finally have found the cure. I've been going to a psychiatrist, and here's a few things: bipolar 2 disorder, depression, anxiety, and something that I knew about for a really long time, but has only just now been diagnosed, ADHD. And with a lot of those things, it's really hard for me to focus and follow through on something that I want to accomplish. And so now I'm hoping that with the therapy that I'm going through and the medication that I have, I'm able to break through some of this procrastination and not being able to focus on getting things done. It's kind of been working with me doing the Mitch Burrow show. You know, I started it a couple years ago, and then I fell off for a very long time. And since I've been back, there's a lot been going on, so I have missed a week here or there. But overall, I'm getting it done, and I'm pretty proud of myself for doing this. I thoroughly enjoy it, and I'm really having fun doing it. And so as far as getting things done, you know, I try and record the episodes, like one episode on Monday or Tuesday, and then another episode during the weekend. The problem with that is I feel like every weekend something is happening, right? Like you can tell right now I am not in the garden shed. I'm not in the garden shed studio where the Mitch Burrow show is normally filmed. Right now I'm at my in-laws' home because unfortunately my wife's mother passed away. And so we had to come to Mississippi for her memorial service, and it was beautiful, and it was extremely sad. But we've had a lot of my wife's friends and family here, people that she grew up with, have been here to help her work through this painful time. And this is a weekend where I'm like, you know what, whatever it is, I don't care. I'm away from home, and that, you know, it is what it is, which is a saying that I hate. I abhor. It is what it is. But with that being said, it feels like every single weekend there is some reason why my wife and I are not at home, and I'm not able to focus on what I need to do to continue to put episodes of this show out. You know, my goal is to put one episode out for everybody on YouTube to see, and cut up clips to post on social media, and then do another special episode that's just for the Patreon subscribers. That way you have an incentive to be on the Patreon, right? There's different things for you to see on there that you normally wouldn't see just following the show on social media or on YouTube. But it's just hard. You know, we went to Los Angeles 2 weeks ago where I was doing shows, went to Austin the weekend before that. My wife is working on the weekends, so I'm taking care of Billy a lot during that time. My wife came to Mississippi when she knew that her mother was getting really sick, and then I was staying at home with Billy to help take care of her because it just wasn't a good time for my wife to bring her here. So it just seems like there's always something going on. But I think, you know, as I'm trying to work through these issues with ADHD and things like that, I feel like in the past it's just been easy to just give up, to be like, oh, there's just too much going on. I'm just gonna chill in this little bit of time that I have and watch Suits on the Peacock network or something like that. You know, I don't manage my time properly. And so now I feel like I'm a little bit clearer and able to focus on what needs to be done. But what does need to be done? You know, I think that's the hard part, prioritizing things. Do I need to wash the dishes? Do I need to sweep and mop the floors? I don't think so. My wife does. So, you know, then the priorities change. You know, what are my wife and my daughter and the family priorities versus what are Mitch's priorities? Mitch's priorities are blowing up on YouTube and social media and being able to tour the country doing stand-up comedy again, as opposed to going in and working with tools and things on doing some of that. I don't hate it. It's a fun job. I work on jets, and I think any kind of normal person would look at that and go, man, that's a pretty cool job. But I have the best job working in stand-up comedy. That is the funnest job that you can have. I go up on stage, I make people laugh, and then I hang out with other comedians just joking around all night. It's the best. As a single guy, it was amazing. As a married man with a kid, it's still amazing. It's so fun to get up there and talk about my wife and my daughter and the crazy stuff that we go through, and have audiences laugh at that, and just, like, it fills me with joy. I already enjoy my life, and then I get to enjoy telling people about it in the best way, and they're laughing, and I'm like, yeah, man, my life is pretty cool. You know, my wife is fun, and everybody gets to hear about how fun she is. My daughter is silly and adorable, and I get to talk about that. It's the best way for me to embrace my life and to share it with people. Meanwhile, Monday through Friday, I'm going in and I'm working on airplanes, and I know a lot of people think that that's cool, but the whole time I'm doing it, all I'm thinking about is getting on that stage and doing stand-up comedy. So, you know, it's like my priorities are to move back into comedy full time. My family priorities are to continue to be able to help my wife with paying for our house and with raising our daughter. And that is, okay, I see what's happening here. I am trying to bait myself into sounding like a jerk, and I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that for the audience. I know I want you guys to laugh and have fun. My number one priority is my daughter. Okay? You're not going to, I'm not going to. Stand-up comedy, actually my number two, tied it for number one is, because I'm definitely not going to say my wife is my number. Tied for first place is my wife and my daughter. Okay? There we go. Let's get that out of the way. Now, how would I like to raise them? I'm raising my wife. You know, this is really going off the rails right now. My wife is going to be like, excuse me, you're raising me now? I think I was fully raised when we met. Yeah, you were. Now, am I saying that there's not some things that I wish I could go back in time and change? You know, hey, everyone can use some work, okay? But what I'm saying is, you know, I want to raise my daughter with my wife, and that is my number one priority. Now, what I would like to do is to be able to support that through stand-up comedy only. And I thought, a year and a half ago, I thought I was in a place where that was going to happen. I thought I was on my way to another level of my career in stand-up comedy and entertainment. And then it just got ripped out from under me, and I freaked out, and I was like, I got to go work on these airplanes again. And here I am now, just kind of being like, what the hell was I thinking? As soon as I went the first week, I remember the first week being there, I was just like, oh, I forgot how much I hated this. I forgot how much I hated this. And I immediately was like, I have to get back to doing comedy full time. So that's what I want to do. I want to get back to doing the comedy and be able to help my wife with supporting our family through that. Or I want my wife's business to blow up, and then I don't have to work at all. I don't have to worry about money at all. I can be a kept man, and I can go out and do comedy, and who cares if I get paid? I'm happy, and that's what my wife wants, is for me to be happy. And if she's watching this, I know that's how you feel, and I know that just makes you want to work harder and become more successful so that you can take care of me and let me live my dreams. And I appreciate that. I love you so much. Thank you for taking care of me. Now go sell some cookies. And I can already hear what you're saying. Okay, Mitch, this is what you want so bad. You want to get back into comedy full time. What are you doing about it? Well, I'm trying to start this show locally where not only am I able to perform, but I'm also I'm also able to make some money off of it so that maybe I can use this as a source of income as well. And one of the things I started doing this week was looking for an alcohol sponsorship. I got a few places that I'm reaching out to. Chuckle Rum, which is a new rum company, Pabst Blue Ribbon and Lone Star, and then a whiskey company down outside of Austin. Chuckle Rum has been pretty responsive. They asked about like what kind of sponsorship I was looking for and what they would be getting out of it. So I explained to them how many people were coming to the shows, and then the videos that I wanted to make would be like confessionals. I don't think that's the right word. Testimonies, like their own trial. Is it called a testimonial video where you're like, hey, what'd you think about this? And they're like, oh, it was delicious. It made the show so much better. And then they can take those videos and put it up on their TikTok. I'll post them, and then they can share them, and then more and more people will get to see the beverage. Now, the beverage it's a flavored rum. So I don't know if you've ever had anything like that before. But it's good. It's not like you're not sipping on a nice whiskey or bourbon. It's just, it's a party drink, and that's what I'm going for anyway. So, hey, I'm here to party. Let's do it, Chuckle Rum. It ain't Bacardi 151. They don't even make that anymore. That's how bad that stuff was. I had a buddy when I was in the Marine Corps. I got him to take shots of Bacardi 151, not shots. Okay, that's asking too much. I got him to take a shot of Bacardi 151 with me, and his nose started bleeding. This is a Marine. We were at the E Club on Camp Foster in Okinawa, Japan, and as he took the shot, it was like instead of drinking it, he slammed it into his nose, because as soon as he took it, blood just started dripping down his face, and I was like, okay, probably never gonna drink this again. And then it had been a while, 15, 16 years, and then I started working at the Comedy Store. Apparently, that was the initiation shot. Once you started working, you get off your first shift. Luke Schwartz, who's been a door guy there for a pretty long time, and he just got made a paid regular, he would take you back to the back bar, be like, hey, congratulations, you made it through your first day, and then he'd give you this disgusting, incredibly strong, high alcohol content shot to welcome you to working at the Comedy Store. And since I had already had it in my hip pocket, I just threw it back and was like, hey, thanks for having me. And he was, I remember him being like, oh, okay. But I don't think that, okay, was like impressive. I don't think he was impressed. I think he was like, oh, okay, this guy's going to be a problem. You can't take a shot of 151 without wincing a little bit and people not realize that you may have an alcohol problem. But I probably shouldn't be talking about what kind of alcohol problem I have while I'm also discussing the possibility of me trying to get alcohol sponsorship. But anyway, so that's kind of like the goal. Hey, let me make money off of these ticket sales, but also let me get an alcohol sponsorship so that I can get free drinks and some money to put towards the show. And hopefully it comes through. I would absolutely love for that to happen. It would make the production of the show so much easier on my end, and also make it more profitable, which will help me continue to do it in the future. So I was I've been talking about my work with therapy and getting medication and how much it's been helping. And on an earlier episode, I had discussed how I found this amazing therapist, and I was giving her credit on a lot of my work with the depression and the anxiety, and how just, it was so awesome finding a therapist that I really felt comfortable with. And I think I even mentioned, I've had bad luck with therapists. And it continues to this day. Okay, let me just go through the list here of the therapists that I've had. My first therapist in Seattle, Washington, I went to him. I started discussing some of my problems, and then he said, "Hey, you might want to find someone who's a little more qualified to help you with your issues." Like, excuse me? How messed up am I that you are a certified therapist? You're a counselor who, this is your job, and you're going, this is out of my league. Doesn't instill a lot of confidence in how well this is going to work. The next therapist I had, I found one, and I was making calls to get the. I found a therapist, and I was making the calls to set the appointments, and they kept like pushing it off. They I guess their calendar was already full. So every time we would get to a point where we could make a schedule, they'd be like, "Oh, that's not going to work." And I was finally just like, "Okay, you think rejection isn't one of my issues, and now you just keep rejecting me every week, like, hey, we're not going to be able to fit it in." So then finally I found a dude who was able to see me on a regular basis. And then, like, I think it was the third meeting that I had with him, he was saying something, and he goes, "Irregardless of how things turn out," and immediately I was like, well, that's not a word. So regardless of whatever you're going to say, we're never seeing each other again. I'm a dumb redneck from Georgia with a GED. And even I don't say irregardless unless I'm talking about someone saying the word irregardless. So that was upsetting. Then I found a woman who was, pretty cool. And she had a dog. She had a Chihuahua named Gomez. Now, racial implications aside, I don't know that she was racist. Maybe somebody else had the Chihuahua before her, had already named it, and then she was like, okay, well, I don't want to confuse this dog. Now, I don't know how I necessarily feel about that, because we adopted a black dog named Blackie, and we did not feel comfortable taking this dog to the park and yelling out Blackie over and over and over when we wanted her to come back to us. So we renamed her Lucky. We found a name that sounded similar enough that she would be fine with it and not confuse her too much. So I think if you have a Chihuahua named Gomez, I don't care if you adopted Gomez from a Mexican family, it's a Chihuahua. And perhaps you should change Gomez to Flotes or something. This show is pretty much off the cuff, but there are some things that I should pre-write. I'm not great with puns or things that rhyme, so Gomez is really stumping me right now. I don't know what to say. But the point is, Gomez bit me, so I had to stop seeing her. That was a little traumatizing, to say the least. Then I got to Texas, where I'm at now, and my first therapist I found Took me a while to get on her books. That was a little annoying, but then I finally get a meeting with her. And then we set up another meeting for a month later. We're going to do monthly sessions. And the day before my next session, my second session, I get a phone call, which I'm like, hey, they're calling to remind me, hey, don't forget, you got to come into the office tomorrow. She retired. Out of nowhere, this woman retires. So now I'm out of therapy. I got to call another place. And finally, this is where I get to the therapist I have now. And she's amazing. And we see each other for about 2 months. Things are great. And then right before my last meeting with her, they called me and she's in the hospital. And then they called me 2 weeks later. She has another issue going on. And then called me this week. She still hasn't fully recovered. And the only thing I'm thinking is, please don't die. I cannot go through this. Please have a healthy recovery. I am praying for you. I'm not even religious, but I'm praying for you because, number one, wonderful lady. I would hate for anything bad to happen to her. But also, I need you. I need you in my life. Please get well soon. So I can't find another therapist. I can't spend that time going through everything, just trying to find someone who's willing to listen to me. As I say that, I realize that's what you're doing. I realize that you're listening to me ramble on and on and on, and you're not even getting paid for it. But I try to make this a little bit more entertaining. I'm not sitting here crying the whole time, which is what she has to put up with. I just hope she didn't, I hope I didn't put her in the hospital. I hope I didn't send her down I hope she didn't get severely depressed just listening to me tell her how depressed I was. And now she's out of the business. So I hope she gets better soon because she's great and I need her help. Yeah, I need her to help me. One of the things that I was talking to my therapist about, this is very difficult to say as an adult who should be emotionally mature. But my daughter misses my wife more. She misses her mom more when she's away from her from an extended period of time than she misses me when I'm away for an extended period of time. I know I shouldn't be jealous of my daughter's love for my wife. And believe me, when my wife comes home and my daughter is all about seeing her, by that time, I'm like, hey, yes, mommy's here. Go party with mommy. But my wife came to Mississippi a couple days before I did. And so I was like, hey, is she doing okay? Is she crying every night asking for daddy? Like, I hope you're not having too much trouble with her. And I hope she's not too upset. And my wife was like, no, she's great. You know, she has to call you every now and then. But other than that, yeah, she's doing just fine. Okay, you don't want to lie to me just a little bit. You know, I don't want my daughter to cry herself to sleep every night. But if you just told me that she was a little sad, you know, that'd be great. The good news is while Lee was out of town for a couple weeks before I got out here, I had the house to myself, and we had painted like half of a wall in the kitchen a year ago and just never got around to it. And I feel like part of that is because we're always out of town or doing something, or, you know, like I get home and I'm like, okay, I'll do it tonight when I get off work. And then I don't want to make noise and wake up Billy. So it's just been sitting undone. And then finally I had 3 days where they were both gone. I was like, I'm going to do it. And I painted the rest of the kitchen. Now, the funny thing about this is I hate painting. That's probably why it's been sitting for a year, because I've just been procrastinating. So when I was in LA, I used to work as a handyman part-time. Tim Dillon asked me if I would paint his bedroom for him, and I tried to price myself out of it. I was like, yeah, man, I'll do it for $700. And he was like, cool, that works for me. I was like, I don't know why you would ever agree to pay this much money, but I can't turn it down now. It's just way too much. So I hate doing it. And there's like other rooms in the house that we want to paint now, and I'm just dreading it. I think the life expectancy the mortgage is like, we have like 29 more years on it. And so maybe I'll finish painting the interior of the house before we pay the house off. I don't know. It just sucks so bad. I hate painting. Something else that happens with me, like just constantly having this ADHD stuff, is these apps will offer you a free 3 or 7 day trial or whatever. And then after that, you're going to get charged for the whole year. So you're like, cool, I'll try it out for 3 days, cancel it, no charge, no harm, no foul. Well, I never do that. So now I have this Wonder AI app that apparently can do like amazing AI portraits or whatever. I have no idea how to use it, but I did just pay $35, so I guess I have a year to figure it out. I've done that with so many different apps. It is so frustrating. I try and like make a note in the calendar, like, don't forget to cancel the thing. I never remember. And I can't afford, I can't afford to have these stupid like $30 charges whenever they happen, because I own a home now and it's so expensive. And I'm not just talking about the mortgage. Our mortgage is almost half of what rent was when I lived in Los Angeles. Like the mortgage is nothing compared to the cost of owning a home. Something is always breaking. And when you rent, you just call the landlord up and be like, hey, Steve, my fence fell down because the wind was blowing too hard. Can you send somebody out to fix it? And it's done. But when you own the home, now you have to figure out where you're going to come up with $500 out of your budget to fix it. And here's the thing about being an adult that I never really realized, but it's when you are an adult and you have adult things in your life, nothing costs less than $200. Window shades, blinds are going to cost you $200 to put in the house minimum, and that's like one room. The fence, I bought used paneling. I have a used privacy fence. Like who has a used privacy fence? Poor people. That's who. So like there's a part of me like, and when you buy the house, you're stuck there. So like you can't go anywhere because now you have this thing that's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars just sitting on your billing statements that you have to take care of. You know, I don't know why I'm being such a negative Nancy about things. I have a house, I have a family, and I still get to do comedy. I just like, it's not exactly what I want. I am a spoiled brat. Like sometimes, like my daughter seems to have a little bit more emotional maturity than I do at times. Anyway, you know what? Like my comedy is, I even have like some fans, you know, like maybe not exactly where I want to be, but I recently got a note from someone and they were like, hey, you're my son's favorite comedian. He's autistic, which that's not, the fact that he's autistic isn't funny. Yeah, look, it's not the fact, hold on. Come in. Hi. My daughter is here. You want to come up, sit Daddy's lap real quick? We'll finish this up together. Okay. So look, it's not the fact that this person is autistic that's funny. It's the fact that my biggest fan is autistic. I guess I just draw a certain type of person. And that's great. I like to entertain everybody. So, you know, I'm very happy. Very happy about that. So look, I just want to finish this up and kind of talk about why I have a Patreon and some of my goals. Number one, it helps. It helps to make comedy and entertainment a full-time job, right? Like it's, I couldn't do it through Hollywood, so now I'm doing it through fans. Like if you like me and you want to contribute, you can contribute as little as $5 a month, and that goes to me reaching some of my goals. Some of it is just having money to continue to do stand-up comedy full time. The other part of that is I have things that I want to do. Hold on, let go. I have things that I want to do that are going out a little bit more into the entertainment industry, right? Like I have a pilot that I wrote for a TV show, and I want to film that. And I have a unscripted reality show that I want to do a 30-minute episode of to pitch. And I want to record some of my stand-up shows to help go towards promoting things, and also maybe get to the point where I'm releasing a special. Okay, you get it. Yeah. All right, come here. Okay, we're done. Thank you. Bye-bye. And so I have this great partner that I'm working with to film things. And I also have a great partner that I'm doing the videos with now, apparently. But I have this great guy that I'm working with. But things cost money. So if you subscribe to the Patreon, not only do you get extra episodes of this show, but the money that you put into the Patreon, that will go towards filming the pilot, filming the unscripted reality show, and then also filming the stand-up shows that can go towards releasing a special. So I just want to thank everybody. Thank you for watching these videos. Thank you for subscribing. And thank you for putting up with this one interrupting stuff. Okay? So we'll see you next time on the Mitch Burrow Show. Can you say bye-bye? Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thanks.